I live? Am I live? Am I alive? I think I'm live. Hi there. How are you today? I am here to discuss Cenk Uygur, the Young Turks, and his controversial anti-red state tweet, which is all about nothing. I am Bernie Bro, and let me explain. Just recently, Cenk Uygur, founder of the Young Turks, got into an array of controversy over a retweet to Donald Trump's initial tweet, whereby Donald Trump basically said, "Well-run states should be bailing out poorly run states using coronavirus as an excuse. The elimination of sanctuary cities, payroll taxes, and perhaps capital gains tax must be put on the table. Also, lawsuits, indemnification, and business deduction for restaurants and entertainment." Shank Ugert responded, "If we had a Democrat with balls when we take over, they cut off the funding to red states, make them beg for their handouts. Almost all of them are welfare queens who live off the blue states. Republican run states are, on average, miserable failures who take more from the federal government." Um, well, there was a lot of people pretty angry about Shank's remarks. And I myself am divided on it. But a lot of lefties were, and I understand where they're coming from. With the remark he's made, is kind of like, well, gee, on some of these red states, there are lefties and there are people there are the people who are fighting the good fight, and then there are people who are the disenfranchised who the lefties, regardless of their economic um, situation at the moment, are trying to help those who are disenfranchised. And the thing about it is that, as I said, I'm divided. I mean, I understand why lefties are kind of angry about the remark, but I kind of see both sides to this. But even Emma Vigeland from Rebel headquarters, which is affiliated with TYT Young Turks, she was not too thrilled with his remarks. But the thing about it, folks, is that I used to literally have the same point of view that Shank Uger tweeted. Used to think like that, and I don't anymore. But basically, this is a response to Donald Trump's tweet, and actually, in a lot of ways, and from my perspective, and in my opinion, my observation is also a response to people like Mitch McConnell, who's actually worse than Donald Trump. I think that a lot of lefties are missing the boat. They saying, "Oh, well, you got to go remove Trump, and everything will be okay." Not as long as Mitch McConnell is Senate Majority Leader, regardless of who's the president. It, I would have to argue that Mitch McConnell is probably the most dangerous politician in this country at the moment right now. One of the most vicious people around. Um, going back to the Obama years to try to stop a Supreme Court justice, and and I get and the Republicans are very good about obstructing. They develop it into art in such a way that even when Democrats do it, they do it half-assed and they look like little pussies in the process. So I mean, there is kind of a weird admiration, even though I do think that Mitch McConnell is the biggest asshole around. I despise Mitch McConnell, and anyway, don't get me started on that man. But no, I do see where Shank is coming from. I don't quite want to get to the point where I want to punish people because this movement is to reach out to people, reach out, and yeah, that includes the deplorables. I mean, I'm going to give you my take. You take some militia piece of shit from rural Mississippi who is angry at the world and armed to the teeth and has a bunker and gets his news from Alex Jones, growling on the airways. Rah, 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 rah. And he's getting angrier and angrier, and he's joined the alt right and this militia person, and he's thinking, "I'll get my guns, and we're gonna these minorities and the globalists and the Zionist neocon machine. I'll go and Turner Diary their asses." You know, these people they're ticking time bombs. But even the lowest form of life that these people are, do I want them to have a living wage job? Do I want them to have access to free quality health care, a generous retirement program, or what have you? Yes. And the reason I do is that if they have those things, the likelihood of them going bonkers and attacking minorities, attacking the federal government, and becoming a domestic terrorist greatly declines. Not only that, if even if the most deplorable of the deplorables have a good high standard of life like everybody else, which is the social democratic way of doing things, their hatred would probably go away. They will probably be a little more uh, magnanimous toward people. They'll probably hate a little bit less. And you know, that's what that's what I want to see. I want to see a society where everybody, well, I'm not saying that everybody should be forced to love each other, but that the need to resent and to be suspicious of your fellow fellow man or fellow woman, fellow person, if you want to go PC about it. uh, the notion of everybody tolerating everybody else, and to the point where everybody is pretty chill, is what we should strive for. So I do understand what Cenk Uygur was saying, and I I largely agreed with the sentiment. I just would not want to actually use that tactic. Is basically what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And but I think that's all too much to do about what he said. I mean, to attack him for that is futile. Um, and what's really uh, kind of strange about Shank is that he's got a lot of haters. Um, got the Republicans; they hate his guts. Corporate Democrats hates his guts. He even has people on the left that hates his guts. And the people on the left is the one I'm the most curious about, because it's kind of like, well, for me personally, I don't know the man, but I'm grateful for Cenk Uygur, because I kind of give him credit for creating a space for progressive media, because prior to the Young Turks, my getting familiar with them around 2007, 2008 is when I started watching it on YouTube. Um, Prior to that, I mean, all I saw was Fox News and CNN and MSNBC, and that's just a swamp out there. I mean, that's just a wasteland. Corporate news. And I remember getting back in the 1990s, getting really, really involved and getting aware. The liberal media just didn't seem all that liberal anymore during the 1990s. It used to be that I could watch CNN's Crossfire and listen to Michael Kinsley and Pat Buchanan go back and forth and back and forth. It was easy to take a side. I obviously back then sided with Michael Kinsley. But later on, that left right divide started to get more blurred on things that were major. And then on the hot button issues, it shifted rightward. And so the Overton window in the media seemed to have shifted, excuse me, to the right. Well, and whatever I may have thought about the fairness doctrine at one point, it seems like what has happened with the new media, the alternative media, made things like reinstating the fairness doctrine not as necessary as it would have been otherwise. Which I'm getting into another subject there, but with what happened with the Young Turks created a lot of other left wing channels, left wing networks, and I'm grateful for what he's did. I can't stress that enough. And so all the people that want to shit on Cenk Uygur, I mean, really, you're kind of out of line. Even the areas where he was kind of controversial, and I said this on another commentary the other day. It ain't that big a deal what he said in some of his writings when he was a Republican in the late '90s, early 2000s, or whenever he wrote the blogs about the role of women and all of that. If you ever get a chance to read it, you would agree it was taken out of context, and he was really making fun of himself, which shows you that if you can poke fun at yourself, you have a sense of humor, and a sense of humor is a good thing to have, folks. It really is. It doesn't hurt to have a sense of humor, especially when one can poke fun at oneself. Hell, I look in a mirror every day and I have to laugh. So, but anyway, I just wanted to clarify that and just my take on it. I personally defend Cenk Uygur. Um, I appreciate the work he's done, and I hope that he keeps on fighting the good fight. And he has my admiration, and I sleep better knowing that the Young Turks isn't, in its own way, is intimidating the mainstream news orthodoxy that's out there in the media. So anyway, I'm Bernie Bro. Feel free to subscribe to this channel. Thumbs up if you like, thumbs down if you don't. And tell your friends about us. And take care. Good day.